Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 showing a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's going to try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's going to crash. Salas is going to crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is going to do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. There's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Yeah, can really hold him off. He looked like he's started to gap Cantonio just ever so slightly. Got about half of a second. It's been hovering right around there. Oh, Cantonio really pushing. He's sideways out of turn number 1. But Rayleigh just keeping that car pointed in the right direction. Nice and smooth. Able to keep it going. It's going to be tough. Antonio knows that there's not very many chances, even if he can get close enough to him to make a move. So we'll see as they come through 6 and 7, head toward turn 8 onto the backstretch.
Deeper in the field, nothing changing. Lap traffic ahead. It's Kevin Peak and Bradley Alvis right in front of our race leaders down East Seaside Way. And to turn number 9 for the final time. Lap traffic in the way, and Rayleigh goes for it on Peak. He sends it into turn 9. He knows he can't wait. He knows he can't give an opportunity to Kevin Cantonio. Cantonio's going to take it anyway. Ships it into the hairpin, and Rayleigh's going to get away. Thomas Rayleigh is going to be a race winner in the North American Racing League. A last lap bump and run wasn't enough. This man wins at Long Beach.
Wow, what a finish coming through that hairpin. I thought they were all going to wad it up. We had lap traffic in there, staying in there.
$300 are on the line over 200 laps this evening at the famous but long gone Myrtle Beach Speedway, and it's all in memory of a beloved husband, father, and grandfather, Carroll Kenneth Carden. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My name is Andrew Carden IV with Zach Lindgren alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the 3rd annual Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race. Tonight's coverage is brought to you in part by KC Athletics and DC Designs and all SART Series partners. Qualifying is actually getting rolling this evening, so we will spare you some of the extra festivities and circle back on that in just a few moments. But we have got single car qualifying on track here this evening, Zach Lindgren, and what that means is these drivers are all going out for their own laps on the racetrack, and it rolled off a little bit earlier than we were expecting, which means Dalton Creech has already run his lap in car number 36, and he brings it right down to the pit lane. We are going to be doing a best in show contest, and this is definitely one of the entries I feel like in at least consideration for it, but there's a bunch of really good paint schemes out there this evening, including this one, Brandon Elvis on track in car 54. But let's get to it, Zach. We have a handful of cars here this evening. Myrtle Beach Speedway, kind of a smaller race here this year. That's okay. Late model stocks are always fun, and this racetrack is a blast to drive.
Yeah, this racetrack really is a blast to drive. You've got the per usual 3 and 4, but one of the things that everybody points to when coming to Myrtle Beach is how odd it is to get into 1 and 2, as you see here with Brandon Elvis just fling it into 1 and 2. Really, it's very off kilter, so to say. You have the option to either straight line it into 1 or kind of rainbow into 1. Both really work. It's just a matter of your preference. But Brandon Elvis, you're putting down one heck of a time. I believe that might put him towards the top of the board. It does right now, just over half a tenth over Dalton Creech. So it's already some good times laying down and some really, really close competition as far as practice goes. These guys are separated by a little less than 3/10, 4/10 throughout the entire field. So we're looking forward to some really good racing here tonight at Myrtle.
And here's another paint scheme out there this evening that I quite enjoy. It's just the simplicity behind it for Connor Fox in car number 111. Definitely a throwback look. He's going to go 3rd quick here in tonight's qualifying session, and it looks like he's going to shut it down on lap number 2. Patrick McPeak on the racetrack in car number 61. I like that burnt orange kind of look. You've got an orange Tacoma, and this color is pretty similar to it. It's maybe a little more metallic, but it's definitely in the same category.
Yeah, the orange burn to it looks really nice, and like the reflective off the sun or with the sun makes it really, really pop. My Tacoma doesn't really have that reflection to it, so to have that look to it is a really, really nice touch.
Off of turn 4, lap number 2 for Patrick McPeak. He'll pick up a little bit, but won't go any higher on the speed chart. That'll turn things over to Kyle Terzak, a driver that has been up front and in contention lately in what I consider the top echelon of short track sim racing, at least on iRacing.com. That is the Sarah Super Series. We were at Lanier this past Thursday, and Kyle Terzak battled straight up with Alex McCullum and Cole Cabry for that win. Terzak came up short ultimately, but he has a win earlier in the season over there, and he goes right to pole here this evening at Myrtle Beach by just 1/1000th of a second. Can he go faster here on lap number 2? Terzak off of turn number 4 to the line. Does not pick up.
And you can see him using every little inch of the track and coming all the way out to the wall, as you must do with these cars. You've got to really take advantage of every single inch of the track. You saw Terzak do that up against the wall as we look on the 9 car of Waylon Nelson here coming through his qualifying efforts. You see him maybe brush the wall a little bit, using every little bit of the track, so to say, in turns 3 and 4. Not coming up all the way, but still using a good amount of the track. A little high in 1 and 2, but that should still be fine. Get a good little shot out of 1 and 2.
And through turns 3 and 4, Waylon Nelson trying to go up a little bit higher on the speed chart here in qualifying. His Chevrolet Camaro points off the corner, and he will slow down on lap number 2, which means he will stay in 5th place for now. Trevor Vaden Oh man, this is one of my favorite paint schemes of the entire field tonight. I mean, this has every bit of classic Jeff Gordon look to it. Honestly, a bit of the classic Jeff Gordon look, but also a bit of the, like, 2010 Jeff Gordon look to it. I mean, it is a really nice looking paint scheme.
The flames on it, like you said, representative of the Jeff Gordon, but the black behind it, usually when you think of the Jeff Gordon older flame cars, you think of the little bit of the blue behind it, but no, you're not wrong, Andrew. With the black behind the flame, it does really kind of resemble the early 2010s, just before he retired. As Trevor Vaden comes up for his final lap, will he go faster? No, just a little bit off of his first lap. That'll put him 6th on the chart.
And, of course, I'll be partial to this paint scheme this evening. I put it together, after all. Zach Murtis on the racetrack in the Murtis Esports Pit Stop TV Chevrolet Camaro. Good to see him here this evening. Was originally, well, not originally, but was at one point today going to be on the broadcast team, and then said, you know what, let's go give the race a try. And he's now behind the wheel in car 02. Decently quick lap 1, 19.272. That's going to be good for 3rd. That bumps Dalton Creech and Connor Fox. And he's looking for a little more down here in 3 and 4 on lap number 2.
You see how flat this track is in this cam inside the cars. It comes out of the corner, gets a little bit too hot, comes back down the track. He's going to go slower here, but I mean, you could just see how flat this track actually is. Just the speed that you have to carry, but still flat. You got to really pay attention to what your tires are doing and how your car's behaving throughout this corner. As we got the 21 of Carson Klingelhofer here coming out on to take on his first lap. It looks pretty decent so far. Little outside of 3 and 4, but still looks pretty decent.
Carson Klingelhofer, car number 21. Nelson Roofing on board that Chevrolet. 5th quick, lap number 1. Will be looking to move up if possible. He's 19/1000ths of a second off of Dalton Creech in 4th. Lap number 2, he picks up. It's going to be right with Dalton Creech. Oh my goodness. It ends up finalizing a little bit slower, but 3/1000ths of a second separating those two. And here we go. Cameron Carden himself, Whiplash racing driver over in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. And, of course, organizer of this event in honor of his late grandfather, Carroll Kenneth Carden. Off of turn 4, Cameron, lap 1, a 19.5. It's actually 10th of the 10 cars that have qualified. He's been in pursuit of kind of furthering his career and his life, and he's gone out to Oklahoma recently in pursuit of an education, and yeah, that lap is not going to count for him. He got the wall on the inside. So I think he's been a little bit away from the sim lately. I think he's a little bit rusty, but give him 200 laps. He's still going to be a contender for the race win, just like anybody else in this field. So with the field qualified, Zach, we can take a look back at the track map this evening for Myrtle Beach Speedway. Of course, we've gotten pretty used to it now through the qualifying session, but here's a look at it. I really do dig this racetrack. I was very lucky to have been able to go to the final race here back in August of 2020, and that'll be a memory that I hold with me for all my life. I really, really enjoy this racetrack. I'm glad we have it on iRacing. I wish we still had it in reality.
Yeah, I completely agree. The few times that I was able to run here on iRacing, whether it be these cars, the late models, I ran a couple Xfinity races here. This is a really, really unique track. You can see here on the track map, like I said, coming out of turn 4, the front stretch kind of curves off as you get to the line. You have this really, really long turn 1, and it's up to you on how you want to take it. If you want to just kind of straight line it going into the corner, if you want to arc it, there's really, really no no difference in what you want to do. So it's a very, very unique track. It's a very fun track, very fast track as well. As you can see, these guys are separated all within 3/10 of each other from 1st to 10th. So this track puts on a show that there is a reason this track was made. It, like you said, it's a shame to see it come down, but still, to have it in iRacing is really, really cool to have.
I'm glad to be here this evening. Excited to get this race underway here shortly. I do want to take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV because it ties in, because we'll see Zach Murtis. Well, we'll hear Zach Murtis on broadcast on Tuesday, and we might be able to see Cameron Carden in Tuesday's race here on the channel at Kentucky Speedway as the BRB Sundance Pro Series. We'll be back in action on Tuesday evening at Kentucky. Then we have our new double feature that we're trying here for the beginning of 2026 with the North American Racing League early on Thursday and the Sarah Super Series late on Thursday. You can see Kyle Turzak in that Sarah Super Series race a little bit later on Thursday evening. That'll be a mystery race for that bunch. They don't know what racetrack they're going to. Heck, they could even end up here at Myrtle Beach. Who knows? And of course, Zach, you'll be joining me on the North American Racing... Or no, this is AmRace. You will not be joining me on the North American Racing League event this week. You'll catch me... Or, well, we'll catch you on the next one for the pros at Spa on January 29th. But a lot going on here at Pit Stop TV, and we certainly hope you'll join us for all of these broadcasts coming up and across the social media landscape as a whole. Qualifying, of course, has run its course. We'll be wrapping up here shortly. It should be advanced within another minute or two into the race session. What we can do quickly, Zach, is look at the weather conditions and even the date and time in the sim. Set to February 15th in the sim, which is your birthday. It's coming up here soon. 2 in the afternoon. Ambient temp of nearly 69 degrees. Track temp of right at 84. Decent humidity, honestly, for South Carolina. Clear skies. It's a good kind of wintry South Carolina race day. You know, it's decently cool for these guys. There's a little bit of heat in the track, thanks to being clear skies and the sun beating down, but it's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. You saw the cars really be able to stick through the corners in that qualifying effort, but now it's just a matter of how well will they stick throughout the entirety of the race. 84 degrees on track. That does cause not maybe a lot for concern, so to say, but as more and more of the laps start to pile on, the track could pick up just a little bit. The track could get a little bit more greasy, maybe it's just a little bit more slidey as the tires wear. In fact, it could get a little bit more. So it's gonna be a fun race to see how the track changes along with the cars.
A big thank you goes out to all of our partners with this event. Of course, there are plenty of them, and those would include KC Athletics, KC Designs, DC Design, Graphics and Wraps, Nelson Designs, Nelson Roofing, ML Residential Painting Services, His Own Love Apparel, and the Pulaski Swamp Donkeys checking in for tonight's event. Before we get down to the starting grid, I did want to... Well, I'll tell you what, let's go to the grid first, and then we will go ahead and rattle off our nominations for today's MX Raps Best in Show contest. But on the ATVO starting grid, on pole position, how about driver 15, Kyle Turzak? He'll lead into the green here today on the inside of row number 1 with Brandon Elvis over his right shoulder. Row number 2, Zach, it's Zach Murtis on the inside in car 02, Dalton Creech over his right shoulder, and to complete the first half of the field, Carson Klingelhofer in car 21.
To complete the rest of the field, the 111 of Connor Fox will be rolling off just to the right of Carson Klingelhofer. Right behind them, Waylon Nelson and Trevor Vaden will be rolling off in row 4. The final row tonight will be Patrick McPeak and Cameron Carden will be rolling off as just behind everybody tonight.
And we have cars on track, or at least in the pit lane, so we can go ahead and take a look at some of those paint schemes and start to nominate some drivers. I think, honestly, I know my 2 nominations are gridded up. How about yours?
Let me take a look. I believe my 2 are also gridded up. Yes, sir.
Well, let's hear it. I'm going to put you on the spot. We've got 10 cars in the racetrack. You got to nominate 2. I'll nominate 2. 4 total. Who you got for Best in Show?
While we were kind of going through our pre-race and just kind of looking at the cars, we were talking about it. I'm kind of partial to the 21. I really like the look of the blue, the black, the white. For some reason, that color scheme just always seems to get me. So the 21 of Carson Klingelhofer is going to be one of my picks. The reflective 21. It just, there's something about a black, blue, white car that I'm always partial to. To continue on with it, you know, to be partial to the channel, I might steal one of yours, but I got to take the O2 of Zachary Murtis. That car is very sleek. The Murtis Esports on the hood, Pit Stop TV on the fenders. That car is sleek. It is fast. We've seen speed out of him time and time again. So those are going to be my 2 picks.
And if I've got to pick 2 myself, and I do, of course, I'm a little torn. I have 3 that I want to go between. I definitely want to put the 18 of Trevor Vaden on this list. I'm a big fan of these Flames. These are Flames done well. It's easy to miss on Flames, but these are Flames done well. So I've got to nominate the 18 of Trevor Vaden, and I think just because it's a little bit different, I'm actually going to go for the 36 of Dalton Creech. It's so hard to miss. It looks really cool. It's a little bit different from what you might expect, but here we go. We're about to go racing this evening for 200 laps. A quick synopsis of your Whiplash SimCam's race details. 200 laps, a break after 150, 2 change sets, 100% fuel in the pit lane. Let's see how this one goes. Into the restart zone, we are racing this evening in the 3rd annual Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race. Oh boy, already problems for Trevor Vaden in the back. He has turned around, and no caution as of yet. I think he's waiting on one. He hasn't gotten it. There it is, as Cameron Carden comes around. There's the caution for Trevor Vaden. Oh boy.
Yeah, it looks like there was a lot of beating and banging coming out of 2. We saw a couple cars up in the wall, one of them being the 54 of Brandon Elvis. The other one looked like the 111 of Connor Fox, and it looked like Cameron Carden and Trevor Vaden just kind of came together. We're going to have to take a look at the replay here just to kind of get an idea of what all went down there.
So off of turn 2, a little bit of contact there between Elvis and Terzak. And you see Elvis fell back, and that actually allowed Murtis to get down to the inside, and he ends up taking the race lead away in all of this. So let's see how he gets it. I think he just dives down here in 1. Yeah, and takes it away as Terzak rolls over into turn 1. So Zach Murtis is your race leader here under caution. But let's see what happened back here to the 18 of Vaden. He has Waylon Nelson to his inside. I believe they are teammates. Oh, and the 111 got tapped by the 9. Vaden tried to come down and miss it, and the 61, who I think is also a teammate, got into him.
Yeah, the 18 was probably just ready for any kind of whiplash that the 111 may have coming off the corner. I mean, that's a smart play by him just to make sure his car stays clean. It's just unfortunate because Patrick McPeak here only really saw just much of the aftermath. Tags him just a little bit out of the corner, trying to get away, gets into the wall himself, gets in contact with the 18.
So pit stop done and dusted for the 61 as well. He has come in for service. Patrick McPeak. And then Trevor Vaden has also come in for service in the number 18. Cameron Carden started from the pit lane, so he has not taken service, but he has been on the pit lane technically. And he will line up 8th for this restart. It's interesting, this is a day race this year. This was a night race last year. And, you know, it's set in February, so it's not too hot or anything. But I want to go back to the weather conditions brought to you by MXWraps.com. And I definitely feel like this is warmer than it could have been, but also cooler than it could have been. I mean, you and I would live in North Carolina, so we know in February it can either be 50 or 80. And there's really not often an in-between, but this is that in-between. I am curious with the wind speed being at about 10 miles per hour if this is going to change over the course of the race, if we're going to build into any kind of cloud cover or anything, or if it'll stay clear all race long.
Yeah, and you know, that is a possibility, which might clear up cool off the track, I should say. The track has come down about 4 degrees, so these guys are already a little bit stickier on the track, but as the pace truck pulls off, we're getting ready to go green again.
Off of turn 4, restart zone coming up for Zach Murtis. We are green here again at Myrtle Beach. A switch up already from that 15 of Kyle Terzak. He was looking low in turn 3. But we have a lap complete now under green flag conditions.
You see these top four really nose to tail lined up here. Zach Murtis leading the charge with the 54 of Elvis. Now looking to his inside, Murtis goes way high. That's going to bring the 15 and the 36 right behind him. The 15 of Turzak's able to get by Creech now right behind him. He's going to be able to take that position. Murtis falls from first to fourth within a matter of a couple corners.
Dalton Creech now pulls up on the back end of Turzak. Murtis falls back. These guys do have 2 change sets in the pit lane, but changing those tires is a laborious task here in these late model stocks. It's not a NASCAR crew servicing you, so it's going to take longer. And you usually can only get 2 tires at a time without going a lap down. So I don't know that you really want to rely on those change sets. We do have the brake at 150. Perhaps maybe take lefts early, save the rights for later. I don't know that you're going to want to pit too many times for tires here tonight. Although if we get a green flag look, we know these guys have to pit for fuel. Maybe that changes things up a little bit. Who knows?
And maybe that's what we're just kind of witnessing right now with Murtis jumping from first to fourth there. Maybe just to ride a little bit, get an understanding of what his car needs. As we see still the top 3 really right on top of each other. Turzak bringing it to Elvis. He hasn't really let him go. Elvis hasn't really given him much of a look, but these 3 have not let each other go. The rest of the pack just behind them also nose to tail. So that could be just something that they're trying to learn right now, what the tires need, try to keep them as cool as possible and with the expectation of a green flag run. But with everybody nose to tail, one little slip up can cause a whole bunch of commotion.
And as far as that MX Raps Best in Show contest, we will run that contest through or around lap 100. So right around halfway, we will go ahead and finish that vote up. Stay tuned, of course, for exactly when we end it. We'll try and time it with a caution if there is one. Otherwise, it should be right at lap 100. So, again, stay tuned for that and keep listening as we work lap 14, coming up on lap 15 here of 200. This is definitely a longer race, kind of as I was already alluding to, Zach, and I think if we do get a green flag look here, it's going to wear these guys out. Myrtle Beach, as you and I know, we've each raced here in trucks and Xfinity cars and everything else. It can definitely wear you out.
It's such a fast track. You wouldn't really expect that from a track as such as Kyle Turzak now looks to the inside of Elvis. But, I mean, you could just see the speed that these guys are flinging these cars into the corner, the speed that they have all the way out. So you've got to be on your game. You can't really rest. You can't really slip up. You can't really breathe, really, just because with how close everything is, how fast this track is, and how on top of everyone the whole field really is. You see the top 3 here all within one picture. If we were to go back to 4th, 5th, they're all in one picture. So these guys are just right on top of each other. There's no time to breathe. There's really no time to think of anything. It's pedal down and get going. There's really no time to think of anything.
Still side by side for the top spot. Turzak down low with Elvis up high. Turzak's been good here in the past. We've broadcasted a handful of races that he's been in here, and he always typically is good at this racetrack in particular. I go back to the Myrtle Beach, I think 250 that the Sarah National Tour ran in 2024, and he was good in that race, just came up a little bit short. Had to wait a little bit longer to get that first big Sarah win. That came at IRP in the Super Series earlier in 2025. Now he's got the lead here by about a half a car on lap 19, and he's trying to clear Brandon Elvis, and he will do so.
You kind of saw there the last lap the kind of dangers that this track produces. I've talked about a little bit about how you could sweep into 1, but 2 really, really closes off quick. You've got to be on point with your throttle inputs through the middle of 1 and 2. If you get on it too early, you're in the wall. If you get on it too late, the cars behind you are going to pounce on you. You go a little bit too high if you over throttle going into 1, as now Elvis looks back to the inside of Turzak. Any little mishap can really, really play a huge factor in where you position your car, what finishing position. A lot goes into this racetrack, a lot goes into this race. So these guys have really got to be on point.
And this guy's got a great view of this whole thing right now. Dalton Creech in the 36. He was a little bit further behind them in practice, I feel like, but had a good qualifying effort in the race here. He seems like he's practically with them as Terzak now gives the look to Elvis. Elvis goes by for the race lead, and now Creech gets underneath the 15 car. That, I think, will be short-lived as they make contact down the backstretch. But they get back single file by turn number 3, and Creech will have to wait just a little bit longer to try to move up into that second spot. Boy, that got active in a hurry.
Very, very quickly. You saw Creech there try to get up on his quarter panel, tag the left rear just a little bit, all green, or all clean, all green, nothing really, no harm, no foul there. But I think Creech is also letting him know, hey, I'm here, I'm looking for position as he gets a beautiful run out of turn 4, gonna look to the inside of Terzak. Terzak looks like he's gonna give it to him, move Creech up to P2.
And yes, the 36 does get clear on by, so Creech officially moves up. Zach Murtis now takes a look back up at Kyle Terzak with Waylon Nelson in his rear view mirror. I wonder, under caution, I might be able to dial him up and see if we can chat with Zach. I might even be able to bring him in during a green flag run a little bit later on. He actually looks here on Kyle Terzak. This is for the 3rd position. This might be slightly early for Zach, I think. It's still only lap 26, now 27. But he's going to go side by side. Nelson follows through. Nelson gets into Murtis. Oh my goodness.
Looks like Murtis tried to ship it into turn 1, maybe tried to pull a little bit of a slide job, didn't work, had to back up. The 9 of Nelson had the speed, wasn't really anticipating much of a checkup, gets into Murtis, which pushes Terzak out of the way. Terzak, the biggest loser in that, loses 2 positions from it, put Terzak all the way back to 5th now.
You see, it's single file, but these guys are in a line of about 6 cars here from 3rd down through, what is that, 8th place. Really, Vaden and Carden are the only 2 off pace, and Cameron Carden has recently parked that car. He is down in the pit lane in car number 25. It seems like he may be done for the event, leaving us 9 on the racetrack. And this battle, again, gets started with the 0-2 on back through to 61. As they chase the race leaders. And, you know, going back to when Murtis made that move there on Terzak, I think you mentioned it pretty well. He just kind of got in there deep, kind of washed up in center, and it just bunched everybody up. And that is part of why now we have this line from 3rd through 8th. That said, Zach is starting to set sail a little bit. I'm a little bit weary of pushing the tires this early in the race.
Well, we did see him go from 1st to 4th and then just kind of lay there. He was kind of not backing up the field, but he was the leader of 4th on back, now back up to 3rd and starting to separate a little bit from 4th. Maybe Zach feels like he waited long enough and it's time to get back on it. He saw the guys up front really running those cars hard. Maybe it was time to get on it. I think it's kind of proven dividends. He is catching the top 2. Terzak has fallen off a little bit. Nelson behind Murtis has also maintained his pace with Murtis up to the front 2. So maybe that was the time to turn it on. But like you said, if they decided to turn it on and maybe it just wasn't the right time, guys behind them could leapfrog as well. But it's one thing to be fast and another thing to pass another car. And it's easy to eat up tires when you're trying to pass another car. So these guys got to be wary of that as well.
The 1 car currently off pace is this number 18 of Trevor Vaden, and I have to imagine that if not for what happened there early, he would likely still be in it. That said, these guys do have a fast repair. So we know we have the brake at 150. I'd imagine we probably will have a caution before then, and we should at least have a pit stop before then. So he should have a chance to get that car back up to snuff and get back out there and turn pace. I just don't know if it'll be too little too late if we do stay green for an extended period of time, or how this race is going to work out for driver 18. I hate that he got wadded up there, lap 1, but he's still got hope. He's just got to get through it.
Yeah, the main goal right now is to try to run as best pace as possible as we see Terzak take over the 4th place from Nelson. But going back to Vaden, I think the goal right now is to make sure he runs at the best pace that he possibly can. He's obviously not going to have leader pace, but you want to make sure that if you do go a lap down, that's pretty much the extent of it. You don't want to go multiple. You don't want to put yourself in a more difficult uphill climb. So right now, the goal for the 18 of Trevor Vaden is just to pretty much play damage control, slow the bleeding as much as you can. You see the 9 get right up on the back bumper of Turczak, then lose it coming out of 4. Maybe throttled up a little bit too quickly, had to back out of it to make sure he didn't get into the wall. And then Turczak gets into the wall.
Nelson also got it. They're off a turn too. So yeah, these guys are starting to, I think, find the edge of what these tires can handle at this point in the race. It's still very early. These top 2, though, nearly inseparable the last 10, 15 laps or so, as Creech is on Elvis like glue. Very, very close between these two at the top end of the field. Creech gets a run here, maybe out of turn 4.
You see the varying lines between the two right now. You see the 54 a little bit lower on entry, a little bit more shallow, where Creech is more so rainbowing into the corner, especially right here in 3 and 4. You see the 54 dive the whole right side of the car for the 36 of Creech is to his outside, so to say. So Creech is using a little bit more of the track getting into the corner, which is going to use up a little bit more of the right front in the middle. The 54 is going to be using it getting into the corner. So right now these guys are playing a little bit of a game of cat and mouse. Which line is going to be better in the long run? We're just going to have to wait and see. But as of right now, it looks like Creech gets a decent run out of 4. Can't really materialize anything until the next corner, or excuse me, until the next lap coming out of 4 again. So I think he's just kind of buying his time, understanding where he needs to place his car.
Right front of Creech's car is concerning me. He's been in the wall recently. I didn't notice that when we first cut to his car. It might have been there, but it's got some decent damage. He's definitely been in the wall hard enough to damage it pretty solidly, and now he's even starting to fall back off of Elvis. I wonder if that has anything to do with it, but I do want to compare some lap times briefly between the top 4. So Elvis, last lap, was at a 19.69. Creech a little slower, 19.75. For Mertis, it was a 7.02, and for Turczak, a 7.03. So Mertis and Turczak literally nearly identical. Just barely slower than Elvis and a little bit faster than Creech. Let's see what this lap looks like for these 4. Creech actually picks up, as do 3rd and 4th. Elvis stays about the same, but Creech and Turczak definitely picked up that lap.
And this is just the product of this car and this track. These cars are so close to each other, so on top of each other, and then the talent level is also right on top of each other. Oh, Mertis gets into the wall going into 1 there. They're going to slow him down. Turczak now on his bumper. That's going to play a huge factor. We saw the work that Mertis had to put in to even get to where he was before that wall contact. He's going to have to make it all back up. Now with the hungry 15 right back on his back bumper. Turczak now going to look to the left. Will Mertis give it back like Turczak did earlier? He will not. They're going to be racing down in the middle of 1 and 2 coming out.
Side by side. And Mertis will eventually let that 15 car go, but tries to get back to him there in 4. About gave him a shot in the middle of the corner. I think Kyle's definitely going to be faster over the long run, and I think Zach recognizes that. But it's really difficult to let somebody go at any point in the race, especially on one of these longer runs where you know track position is going to matter over the course of time. And man, that's a difficult realization and acceptance to make, but I think an important one if you want to stay in contention in the long run, because you don't want to slow each other down battling for a position that's just not worth fighting for right now.
Oh, absolutely. You don't really want to waste your car, waste your tires on a battle that could be over pretty quickly. I mean, if you back up that battle, if you give it to somebody, that battle's over and you can save your car. Whereas if you want to battle that person hard, you could end up damaging yourself, both cars, for the entirety of the race. So even though, with one fast fix in the pits, at the ready for any of these drivers, you still don't want to give up a lot of time. You see Elvis and Creech still right on top of each other. Elvis able to gap Creech here just a little bit, but with how close everything is, you can't give up time. You can't really give up much of anything. So if you can give up time in the short run to make it back up in the long, I feel like that's going to be the biggest benefit to you.
A little over 50 laps complete. There we go. A big thank you again to the partners of this event, Going down the list, KC Athletics and KC Designs, those of course spearheaded by Cameron Carden. DC Design Graphics and Wraps along with Nelson Designs. A lot of design companies on this graphic, that's okay. We appreciate all of their help and their efforts here with the Sim-Auto Racing Tour and this event in particular. A big thank you as well to Nelson Roofing, ML Residential Painting Services, His Own Love, and the Pulaski Swamp Donkeys. And a big thank you to our partners here at Whiplash, at Pits Out TV, Whiplash SimCams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. Battle for second. Creech will let that 15 go by, it looks like. Certainly not by choice, but by necessity. A lot like when Zach Murtis had to let the 15 car go. Just got to realize Kyle Turzak is a little faster on this long run. Let him go, try to get him back later with some tire strategy perhaps. And I think that might come into play, especially looking at how long these guys have now been green. Just about 50 laps, Zach. These guys will need to pit before lap 150 for fuel. So do we potentially, at least I believe, that's per Cameron Carden earlier in the day. I believe they need to pit before the break at 150. So do we see these guys split it down the middle, or do they wait as long as they can to make it down pit lane? I think it'll probably be the latter.
I agree, just because with how close everything is. If you feel like you've got a car, you're just in a bad situation, then I can understand another undercut. Maybe try to get yourself into a position where you can run some clean laps, gain a little bit of time. But with how close everything is right now, as far as time, as far as consistency, as far as just talent level and everything in between all three of those, it's very, very difficult to bet on yourself and come down pit road for an undercut. So I could see these guys running it out. Maybe that's also a good little indicator to see what your car can handle on the long run, what you need to do for the last 50 laps, or excuse me, just before the 150 break, what you need to do for the final 50. So in my opinion, I would say probably run it out. Just would probably outweigh the undercut, but I've been wrong before and I could be wrong again, so we're just gonna have to see as the race continues on. Creech into the wall again, just in front of Murtis. Murtis now on his back bumper.
Yeah, so the battle for third getting going between these two, and I feel like these two so far have seemed relatively evenly matched. Just one was a little faster earlier and then a little faster after that, and now they're right on top of each other here on lap number 60, the 36 and the 02. Bumper to bumper. Murtis looks a little bit lower there off of turn 4. And pulls right to the back bumper of Creech through 1 and 2. Very, very close. Nearly bump drafting off the corner, and now a dive from Zach Murtis into turn 3.
And you saw at the last lap, the 36 got into the wall just a tiny bit getting into the corner, but you saw that car pop off. That's one of the cool things about this car. They're not really high speed, so you can really fling the car. You could really drive the car to the best of your abilities. Get it sideways even if you want to, although you don't want to do that for the tire's sake, but you can if you so wanted to. Murtis will complete the pass on Creech. Creech will fall now to 4th position with the 21 of Klingelhofer. We haven't really mentioned him in the race. He has put himself into the top 5, now catching these two. Possibility looking at a top 3 now for the 21 of Klingelhofer.
So as these guys spread out now for just a moment, it seems like we have a brief second to breathe. And Cameron Carden was in the car a little bit ago. He has since parked the car, but he is here to talk to us while these guys run green flag here on lap number 64 of 200. And Cameron, I think we've spoken to you each of the 2 years we've run this event, and certainly want to add to it here in year number 3. I know this is a little different looking from the last couple of years of this event, but also life looks a little bit different for you, and I know it makes it difficult to dedicate your time to an iRacing event like this. But first of all, how are you doing this evening, and what does this mean to the family?
I'm doing great. It's amazing to be here, be able to do this. I understand that today's been hectic trying to get everything to go, and the past month or two with me being in Oklahoma and having a full-time job in college and be able to do this. But talked to dad and mom today, and they're really stoked, and everybody else who sponsored this race is really excited, and just being able to do this, even with 10 people. You're still seeing good battles and strategy play out for this. I mean, we actually all just voted for a lap 100 caution since we don't have enough fuel, and also there's some other stuff in factor of that. But I'm doing great. I thank you guys for putting this on. I really appreciate it.
We're glad to be here. We really are. I know you guys ran in terms of the SART or Sim Auto Racing Tour. I know you guys had a series, a couple of seasons, I think, recently through 2025 since we were here last at Myrtle Beach, and I'm glad we're back here for this event. This event is, I think, a good one to have for us on the calendar. But let's talk about you for a moment. I know since we've spoken to you last in the context of one of these events, a lot has changed.
Oh yeah. I moved to Oklahoma. We decided in August of 2025 to pursue the college I was going to go to in 2024, and I just decided to chicken out myself and stay home, do 1 year community college. But now, currently attending Rhema Bible Training College out here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and be able to go here for 4 years is what I'm maxing to. They are a 2-year school, which they give out associate's degrees now. My dad, whenever he went to this college a long time ago, he only got a little certificate, but now they give out associates and bachelors. So I plan to get a bachelor's degree in pastoral studies, as what they have out here to offer, and just moving out here and also being able to learn so much, growing so much as a person, and be able to see things from a different eye than what I used to, and just giving God all the glory for making this thing possible, for this event to be possible, for the drive and fly out here to be possible, and paving the way for me. And just thank you all again for hosting or broadcasting this event and being able to share it to a lot of y'all subscribers, and just able to do this for a cause for a guy that I never even knew. There's a picture of him holding me as a kid, but again, no memories. And just this means a lot to my dad, to my family, for the people that know him and knew him. And for these guys to come out here, take time out of their Saturdays, it just means a lot to me and my family.
And we appreciate you and your family. It's always a good time whenever we see Mama Carden every once in a while check in on one of our broadcasts that has you racing in them. I know that's happened a couple of times with those BRB races, and it's been very cool to see you kind of go out into Oklahoma, go out into the world, and go to school and take that big leap of faith and courage and take that next step in your life. So Cameron, it's good to have you here this evening. Might check back in with you here in the kind of second segment now, as it sounds like we're having that break at 100 instead of 150.
I believe we are going to do that. So last year we did the lap 150 caution where it was required for you to make a pit stop. But this year, since a lot of things happened last year that kind of didn't go the way of, now we're just switch it up. I know it's mid race and everything like that, but being able to get a break for these guys to fuel up, take their set of tires, maybe a fast repair, just to shake it up. Again, we may come back to this next year, we may not. It depends on how much is happening behind the scenes, obviously. But for right now, we're just going to enjoy the moment, soak it all in, and just have a great race. I mean, there's a lot of battles going on. This is a driver's track with a fixed setup, so you guys got to watch it. And right now, there is rubber building up on the racetrack, so we could see that playing a factor as well. And obviously tires now are starting to play a huge factor.
Well, I'm sure Carroll, looking down, is proud of you moving on to some big things in your life and having this event now 3 years running. Cameron, good talking to you. Hopefully we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Again, thank you all.
Cameron Carden, of course, organizing this event to honor his late grandfather. I know he says that he didn't really know him, but even that early life kind of interaction between him as a baby and his grandfather holding him, that I think means a lot. Maybe, of course, more to the grandparent, Zach, but that's still significant, and be able to look back and have that picture. I think that's really nice. So, battle here for fifth as we enter the final 20 laps of this segment of racing, if you will, and that's Waylon Nelson going on by the 36 of Dalton Creech. The 36 is starting to fall off.
Yeah, the 36, while that interview with Dalton was happening, with Carden was happening there for just a little bit, the 36 tapped the wall a couple of times, and then this battle really started to spark up. The 9 of Nelson was been able to catch him, but hadn't been able to pass him. Finally made the pass last lap, and then the 36 of Creech was able to get back by. So these two have been going at it for quite some time now, but yeah, the 36 falling off just a little bit just because of, I believe, that damage up on his right fender. And just he's eaten the wall a couple more times since that fact, but I mean he's still hanging strong. He's still bringing the battle to the 9 of Nelson. So there's still some speed in that car. He gets into the marbles. That's a bigger hit than what we've seen all race.
That was a big hit. Big hit there for Dalton Creech. And, you know, we have seen tires fail here at Myrtle Beach in the past. This could be one of those days where we see some tires give way. It's a rarity on iRacing, but when you have rougher tracks like this that eat tires, and typically with higher track temps than 83 degrees, but longer green flag runs, you can absolutely have tires go down. So for Creech, let's go on board here. Driver's eye POV. He's put in a lot of wheel. I mean, that wheel is down at 9 o'clock there in the center of the corner. Let's see 1 and 2, and then let's compare that to Elvis, who's leading. So down here in 1 and 2, Creech hit around the corner. Again, back down at 9 o'clock. Maybe like 9:15.
Yeah, there was one point where he may have dipped even just a little below that 9.
And then for Elvis, let's see him in car. Already a lot more reserved. I mean, 10:30 maybe?
Yeah, he maybe touches 10, and that's just... I believe that's going to be due to just the tire saving and just a little bit of throttle control as well. Just helping the car rotate in the middle of the corner. Also, we're also looking at a car without damage compared to Creech, who did have a little bit of damage on that right front. So there's a multitude of things that could happen. As the 111 already down pit road, he was a couple laps down before this, but now he's going to go even further down the 61 as well. McPee coming down pit road.
These guys are moving awfully slow. I mean, let's see, 40 miles an hour here for he's stuttering. He's barely making it on gas. These guys are going to be really close. And Connor Fox is in the pit lane. He sputtered, I think, as well, getting down to the pits. Let's go back and see, actually, if Fox was under power coming into the pit lane. It does not look like it. Oh, he actually got lapped here. Now let's ride on board. Listen. Really slow, pulls down. I don't think he had fuel.
That's interesting, because even Carden said that they're going to be throwing that caution at lap 100 due to what may have happened last year. So for them to already be decently low on fuel like
Creech
that,
coming in.
Now the 36, yeah, Creech coming in as well. So now it's just going to be interesting to see if the leaders also have to come down, which is kind of odd that we've got cars already running out before some of the leaders. You would think they'd all have to come in around the same time.
This will spice things up for sure, at the very least, as Creech seems like he's back under power a little better. He comes into his box right here, and will take service. That leaves the top 6 on the racetrack, having not yet pitted during this race. It'll be right side tires for Creech for sure. And we're inside of 10 laps to go in the MX Traps Best in Show contest, and only 2 of you have voted. So we need to pump those numbers up. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you watching, I know you've got a smart device near you, so while you might be watching on a TV perhaps, I know you can get to a smart device, an iPhone, a tablet, even a laptop or a computer will work. Get over to the YouTube stream on that device. Make your vote for the MX Raps Best in Show contest. As Waylon Nelson goes a lap down here, is he slowing? No, he's under power. This is very hectic all of a sudden.
It looks like he wanted to there for a little bit, but the 111 and Fox was able to get underneath him. He's still a little slow. He's very much off pace, so maybe he was trying to get down pit road. The 15 of Turkzak also...
he's down to third.
A little bit, oh yeah, a little bit slower as well. The 21 of Klingelhofer has been able to either catch him or whatever it may have been, but Klingelhofer might be in the catbird seat here as far as the halfway point. He was, like I said, we didn't really talk about him earlier in the race, and all of a sudden has just come to life. Now, still 3 seconds behind Elvis, but Elvis here dealing with a bunch of lap cars. This could be easy slow for him. Klingelhofer was on clean track, so this could be a very big swing, a very big change as we hit this midway point.
3 laps to go. Here's the current situation for our race leader, Brandon Elvis, down the backstretch. Lap cars ahead, lap cars behind. It'll be 2 laps to go here in the opening half in just one moment. We will extend that best in show contest, I think, to 125. Give you all some time to get that vote in. As we are 2 laps to go to the first break at the very least. We might have another one later on, the way this is going, as car 54 works on making it 1 lap to go to the break now. He's got 3.9 seconds back to Klingelhofer. I think we definitely have to watch out for Carson Klingelhofer in the second half. Him being laid back in the opening portions of this race and firing back later on is definitely typical Cars Tour stuff, as here we go, caution's out, and we will shut it down with 100 laps complete here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. I would imagine race admins will work to get lap cars back on the lead lap, or at least close to it, as Waylon Nelson's 1 lap down, Creech is 2 laps down, McPeak is 3 laps down, and Connor Fox is a whole 6 laps down after a 22 second pit stop, really. And right to the pit lane for the lead lap drivers, Elvis, Klingelhofer, and Terzak, and throw in Murdas, he's coming in as well. Vaden should be in this time as well.
And one of the things that I'm kind of wondering here as well, Andrew, if we do get the caution also at 150, if it wasn't just bumped up from 150 to 100, if we also get the caution at 150, if you've got damage, is now the time to take it? You're still going to have a half race to get through. Is now the time to take it, or do you just kind of buffer through it until the 150 mark? That way, if there is any kind of carnage that happens during this next 50-lap stint, your car that may be already damaged isn't, or excuse me, the car that you may have fixed on this pit isn't damaged again. So we have seen the 36 of Creech take his quick repair. The 15 of Turkzak gets out relatively quickly as well. So that's just something that I'm wondering here.
Terzak down and away very quickly in the 15. Waylon Nelson now enters the pit lane. Elvis took a little bit longer. 21.7 seconds. That's a 4-tire stop there. 4-tire stop as well for Klingelhofer. 4 tires for Murdas. And possibly 2 for Vaden. But I think it's going to be a 2-tire stop for sure for Kyle Terzak, considering he was only in the box for 13.55 seconds. I wonder how that's going to work. And it seems like we might be resetting back as if this was a controlled caution, which is certainly going to bite Kyle Terzak. But let's go back and see the replay of the pit stop here, just to confirm. But I think it's pretty well set. That had to be a 2-tire stop.
Yeah, I think it is. Earlier, the 36 did take a 2-tire stop to try to get back out on track to not lose a bunch of time. The rights go up on Kyle Terzak, waiting for the tires to be changed. Drops, maybe getting the fuel now. Yeah, 2-tire stop for the 15.
Yeah, just based on time, that's kind of how that had to have gone there. But he will line up back in the 4th spot. I wonder why he'll be in 4th. Breach will move up to 4th and put Terzak 5th, perhaps. Well, anyway, while we're waiting for the lineup to get set and drivers to get back on the lead lap and such, let's take a look back at what's upcoming for us here at Pits.tv. The next week or so of broadcasting looks like this, with the BRB Sundance Pro Series in their ARCA Menards Series cars at Kentucky Speedway. That's definitely an ARCA combo. ARCA at Kentucky is going to be a fun time on Tuesday evening. We're excited for that one. And then Thursday, back to a double feature with the North American Racing League AM drivers at the Red Bull Ring and the Sarah Super Series at a mystery track. Already, though, into the restart zone. The iRacing.com safety truck spooked us there and went right down to the pit lane. We're back racing here at Myrtle Beach. Battle for 4th as the top 3 get away. And actually, Creech is a lap down, so he's not for position. How interesting.
Now, one thing I'm wondering here, if the two-tire call for the 15 was to help loosen up that car. Maybe they were just experiencing a little bit of tightness just because of the tire wear. It doesn't look like that 2 tires is hindering him all too much. He was on the back end of Mertis before Mertis jumped down under Klingelhofer. Klingelhofer now under fire. Mertis will be able to take that position. Klingelhofer has to back out of it, which is going to bring the 15 with him. Still on his back bump. Well, now clear. So move the 02 and the 15 up a position. Mertis now into second. Turczak into third. Klingelhofer from second to fourth. But like I said, I wonder if that 2-tire call from Turczak was to help the car rotate, which will help on new tires, but as these tires start to grow weary, there's no other tires for them to rely on. He's already worn out those lefts just a little bit. The car will get tight yet again. But if we do have that caution at the 150 mark, they don't really have to run too far. This is a good little experiment for him. If this 50-lap stint does work out to the 150 mark, he could possibly again take 2 tires to try to jump field and try to take position to possibly put himself into position to win.
I wonder if Cameron Carden can give us a clarification. Will we have a second break possibly at lap 150? I'm curious, because I think that would completely change this race. It would allow Turczak's strategy, I think, to take hold and not be so detrimental, and it could really change some things up.
Yeah, like you said, I think it could really change some things up. It could really throw a curveball in for these drivers. We've seen them right on top of each other, with the exception of after, lap 45, lap 50 of the longer run. That's when things really started to get spread out. But on newer tires, you can see they're right on top of each other. Turczak now has taken second from Mertis and now running down the 54 of Elvis. We've seen cars get up to the 54 of Elvis. We haven't seen cars dethrone the 54 car of Elvis. Can Turczak be that driver to do that right now?
Kyle Turczak, definitely, of any drivers, I think might be the favorite here this evening. I've touted his strength in the Sarah Super Series recently a whole lot this evening. So if anybody's going to do it, I think it might be him. He's going to take a shot here.
Gets a good run out of 4. You saw him a little high in 3 and 4, cut down in the middle of it to get that run now to the inside of Elvis. Elvis now in the wall. Maybe a little push from Turczak. I don't know, but it was close. Turczak now will be able... Oh, I thought he was going to be able to inch ahead. 54 comes hollering back on the outside. We're still side by side at the line.
Side by side for the race lead now, lap 116 of 200. Turczak tries to clear, just about feeds him the right rear. Dives now to turn number 3 and has that spot from Brandon Elvis. Finally changes things up for the race lead, but I don't think Brandon Elvis is done.
Uses the same strategy that Turczak used on him to get that position. Uses the middle of 3 and 4 to cut, try to get under Turczak. Not going to be able to solidify, though. Going to have to jump back behind Turczak. Turczak now your outright leader for this race.
So Turczak now pulling away. Zach Mertis in the 3rd spot. Klingelhofer and Nelson, your top 5. Vaden is back on the lead lap, but that completes your run of lead lap cars currently. Creech, McPeak, and Fox are all laps down. And we have just a few more laps to go in that MX Raps Best in Show contest. Zach, these guys need to get their votes in. I know everybody's got a smart device somewhere nearby.
I mean, we're now in the Lord's Year of 2026, so I would believe there is at least one smart device somewhere that they could grab to get their votes in. So we are coming up on it rather quickly. Almost 5 laps to go before that voting closes. Mertis a little bit in the wall behind the 36 of Creech. Creech 3rd on track, 1 lap down, as you mentioned, Andrew. Creech trying to get back up, trying to do it the hard way, trying to get his lap back the hard way, but Mertis making it even harder, looking to his inside, coming through 1 and 2. Creech gonna battle him, though. This might... Creech a little bit in the wall, a little bit of a tap. This is one of the things that drivers love and hate at the same time. Battling a lap car to try to get up to the leaders. That's one of the more frustrating things as a driver, trying to get around a lap car who's willing to battle, but I don't blame Creech. He's trying to do it the old-fashioned way.
I do blame him slightly, Zach, I'll be honest. I don't know what he's going to gain from this. He just put himself in the wall moments ago. He's burning his tires up big time. I understand he wants to get going. He wants to try and get up to the leaders. Realistically, I don't know that you're going to run down and pass both Zach and Elvis at this stage in the game. Save these tires. You've only got one set left. You could use these if you get a caution. You could stay out, get a wave around, and you could use these tires to your advantage. I don't think you want to burn these things up. I think let these guys go. Save for the next little while, as now there's maybe some contact there between Creech and Klingelhofer. I don't support this strategy currently from Dalton Creech. I think you just need to let these guys go.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, but at the same time, it's also part of that little bit of a mental game. If your race hasn't gone the way that you had planned, the way you had hoped, or the way that you had wanted, it's very, very easy to get frustrated, kind of throw strategy out the window and say, screw it, I'm just going to race. So I will level with you. I do feel like that could be more of a hindrance more than anything for Creech, but he's still out here. He's still driving these guys. The 21 was able to get by relatively clean. There might have been contact in 1 and 2 when the 21 got underneath him. Gets behind these two. But no, I could level with you. That makes sense. The 15 a little loose out of 454, falling off the 15 just a little bit. So can Elvis get back to him before this next caution?
We're going to extend the best in show vote one more time, and I give you one reason why. We haven't recapped the cars that are in it, and I want to give an honorable mention, certainly, to the 54 car of Brandon Elvis. I think this car absolutely could have replaced any of the cars on the list and been on it. I think for me, I would have liked to see like one just dark feature somewhere to kind of balance the light. It's a very light paint scheme with the white and the light blue dominating most of the car, the yellow numbers as well. It's a great paint scheme. I think that might have made me nominate it maybe over the 36 possibly, or the 18. That's really it. It's a very small, not even a critique, just maybe what I personally would have preferred, and let's be honest, we're humans nominating some paint schemes, but I do want to go back to the 21 car. He is, of course, on the listing for the MX Craft Best in Show contest today. He has a pretty solid black and blue paint scheme that you like a lot, Zach.
Yeah, like I said, I really just like the look of a blue, black and white paint scheme, but the reflection in the blue, the reflection in the blue numbers, the blue tires, I'm just a sucker for that. I really like the reflection, and I don't really like a lot of reflection, so to use the reflection in the blue, that's just kind of the outline of the car, so to say, maybe the highlighter color of it, it's just really, really nice to me.
We also have nominated the 36 car of Dalton Creech. He runs back in 7th currently. I just like this orange and black. It reminds me of the Cincinnati Bengals a little bit. It also reminds me of a car that Cody Connor has raced in super late model racing across the Southeast. And I really enjoy this. It's rough. It's ragged. It's unique. Like, you're not going to see many cars like this. And in a time where short track racing graphics are super popular on the internet, you can do a lot of similar paint schemes. This stands out to me. This is very, very unique in that way. And Trevor Hayden, while I'm touting about how unique the 36 is, this reminds me of Jeff Gordon vibes in the best of ways. They definitely, I think, combine some things that you see in some Jeff Gordon paint schemes from the late 2000 and aughts, if you will, and the early 2000 teens. On those 24 cars with DuPont on the hood. I really enjoy what's going on here. This is Flames, as I said earlier, done really, really well. It's easy to do them wrong, in my opinion. This is done well for that number 18 car. And then you nominated the current leader of that vote, Zach, the 02.
Yeah, the 02, Zach Meredith. You know we couldn't go on. You know we couldn't just overlook the pit stop TV car out here. Come on now. But I do really like the yellow. The yellow of the car really, really accentuates every sponsor on that car. The Murtis Esports on the front, Pit Stop TV on the side, the CC's Business, and the sim wraps on the back fenders of it. It really, really just helps the car pop a lot. So I'm a sucker for anything that helps pop, so to say. Obviously, with the color of the 21, the pop of the 02. So that's why I had to go with the 02. It's just really sleek and really poppy. I really like it.
Well, since we took so long talking about these paint schemes, we'll back it up to lap 150. But then I promise, at lap 150, we are closing the vote down, and with good reason, because once we hit that point, we're going to have a second break here, Zach. Has been confirmed now to me by Cameron Carden. We are doing a second competition caution, I think because of the accelerated tire wear in all these green flag laps. There haven't been cautions to break these runs up and give these guys a reprieve. It's just been straight up racing. We've only had the one caution for cause. So these guys, they need a break. They need to get these next set of tires on and get some fuel back in the cars to make it so it's a straight up race and a little bit less so decided on pit lane.
And if these guys were watching the 15 of Kyle Turczak, he did take 2 on the previous stop. He is now the current leader, drove up from, what was that, fourth in position, 5th on track, up to the lead. So that's something that these guys could take into account too. Take a little bit of a reprieve, maybe backtrack a little bit through the race, what they like, what they didn't like, and maybe also kind of scout what the competition did. Be able to maybe mimic, maybe be able to jump what Kyle Turczak did. While I do applaud Kyle for trying out the strategy in this 50-lap run, I feel like he might have shown his cards already. So this might be something that these guys are just waiting to pounce on as soon as the lap 150 comes around, and should they want to. So this is going to be a very, very good, a very interesting stop for everybody in the field, for Kyle Turczak, for Elvis, for Mertis, for Klingelhofer, for everybody that, for Vaden that's still on the lead lap, Nelson's still on the lead lap. This is going to be a very, very big stop for these guys.
And it should allow Creech and possibly even McPeak to get back on the lead lap and definitely add to the race just a little bit more. That would mean Connor Fox would be the only car that would be lapped. Hate that for him. Hopefully there's a chance for him to get back on the lead lap here soon as well. Top 2 and second, or and third and fourth rather, are starting to get to battling with about 6 more laps to the break. This is the look at third and fourth currently between Zach Mertis and Carson Klingelhofer. I think Zach is good for probably about 30 laps, and then the tires start to fall off, and we're seeing those tires now just hang on.
And he's, like you said, just hanging on right in front of the 21. 21's been on his back bumper now for the past few laps, gotten inches and inches closer, applying that pressure. Like you said, maybe it's just that short run burst that Mertis has eats up that tire just a little bit too much. Klingelhofer right on his back bumper. Look to the inside for just a second. Mertis shut that down before it could even get going. But Klingelhofer right on his back bumper. With that caution coming up at 150, I thought that might have been a little bit more of significant contact, even if there was. With that caution coming up at 150, I don't know if I'd be pushing. I really don't. If they get to keep their position after said caution, then sure. But I don't know how much I'd be pushing here. But at the same time, I'm not in the race. These guys are, so they're in control of their destiny here. Brandon Elvis on the back bumper of that 15 of Kyle Turczak, now coming through 1 and 2.
Nose to tail, first and second and third and fourth. Almost in a couple of tandems on the racetrack as Elvis puts his bumper right in behind Kyle Turczak. 2 laps to go in this segment, if you will, and here's the move to the inside. Side by side, maybe even feeding him a fender there in turn 1. Elvis wants this spot back. They're going to race down to turn number 3, and the 54 is going to try and point down off of turn 4. Can he get the nose ahead? It's going to be very close across the stripe there. Still Turczak for now. There's the caution, actually, as they make contact. So it was thrown at 150, not the completion thereof. Boy, if that had gone one more lap, I think Elvis might have had him.
Elvis did kind of send it in on in turns 1, so it's very possible, because if he shoves the 15 up but he loses the car, these guys still stay side by side at the completion of 150, I would think. But with the caution being thrown right there at 150, that enables the 15 to just stay just a nose out in front of the 54, will hold the lead. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. Does Turczak stay out on entire race, old tires on the left side, take rights? Does the rest of the field decide to take rights? This is where it gets very, very iffy, so to say. This is where a lot of wild cards start to shine through.
I would think this stop makes a lot of sense to be a two-tire stop no matter who you are. The problem for Terzak, as you alluded to, is on the left sides will go the entire race length here tonight. And that scares me a little bit for Kyle Terzak. For everybody else, they've got the left sides from the lap 100 break. I'm just not so sure about sending those left sides back out there without changing them. Let's see what Terzak does. He's going to go. 2 tires only for Kyle Terzak. For Elvis, it's going to be 2 and gone. Same for Klingelhofer. Mertis waits. He's taking 4, and I think that is detrimental. He's losing spots. That, I don't want to be mean to our broadcaster, but I think that was a terrible call.
Well, it also just depends on where it puts him in the track. Like we've alluded to, everybody's going to take those rights, so they're going to be quick on that initial takeoff. They might have a looser car, but we did see the 54 that took 4 tires be able to not only run Terzak back down, but be able to bring the battle back to him. So just depending on how hard these tires are ran, well, let's bring him in and talk about it. Mertis, we saw everybody take 2 rights. You take 4 there. What's the call with the strategy?
The call was I really messed up, I think.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't want to be too critical, but I think that was a pretty bad call. I do want to award you, though, really quickly. You are going to be today's Best in Show recipient, brought to you by MXWraps.com. That at least has to feel good, as you're going to be starting towards the back end of the field for this one.
Yeah, no, it counts for something, I'll definitely tell you. I think I really just kind of botched the strategy. 2 tires was more than likely the way to go to keep track position, but it's going to be a who's who at this point. If we get a late race caution, they want to take their tires, maybe I benefit. If we have to roll through the rest of the race like this, then we have to roll through the rest of the race like this. I think maybe I'll still be in a good spot to try and move forward, but we'll have to wait and see. There's more cars on the lead lap now, and it's definitely going to be a bit of a dicey restart, in my opinion.
And definitely, I think with laps winding down, it's going to be hard to use the entirety of those 4 tires, but for Terzak ahead, he's on race old left side. Do you think that's going to change anything ahead of you?
It could. I think with the right side tires being on, the cars are going to be a little bit looser to drive, which means these guys are going to be able to drive them off the corner a lot harder. I will say that I'm working at a bit of a deficit right now because I don't know what I did, but my left foot's really hurting really bad, and it's causing me to be easy with my brake pedal. So I'm going to try to make sure I don't do anything stupid, but it definitely kind of hurts right now. It's going to be an interesting situation, but you do what you can for $300, and, well, I kind of need $300 right now. I'm sure everybody else does too.
There you go, Zach Mertis going for the 300 to win. Let's see what can happen here towards the end. Best of luck, Zach.
Thank you.
Might check back in with you during some green flag, but he's going to restart 6th here, coming back to the green. It'll be Terzak and Elvis on the front row into the restart zone here. 44 laps to go at Myrtle Beach Speedway. We're racing again. And Mertis wasted no time. He's up to 5th. He passed Vaden there on the restart. They're single file now all the way through. And he's already looking to the inside now of Waylon Nelson for 4th. He gets moved up by Vaden. 1 lap complete.
Able to hold on to it. Vaden was looking to the inside, not being able to hold it. But one of the things that I was thinking about, Andrew, while we were talking to Mertis there, with Terzak being on race old left side tires, essentially, if it slows down anyone, this could be the benefit of Mertis. He might be able to, if they do back up just a little bit. Klingelhofer goes purpled, however, but if he's able to slow these guys down just a little bit, because those tires can't really hang on, if they're not able to get around the 15 of Terzak, that's going to bottle everyone up, and 4 tires might have a chance, but that's way down the road. That's going to be right towards the end of the race. Right now, Terzak able to take off a little bit. The 54 of Elvis right behind him. Klingelhofer behind the 54 of Elvis. Elvis not letting him go just yet, but there is about a half car length gap between these two.
40 laps to go, that time by the flag stand. Brandon Elvis I wonder what's going through these guys' minds. You know, Brandon's got 40 laps to go. He's led most of this race. Let's bring up his stats here. Bottom of your screen, 102 laps led out of 161 complete. Certainly an overwhelming majority of this race has been led by a car 54, but now he's in position number 2, and it's really difficult to pass here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, but you might have to use the body at some point. So when do you want to take that strike at the 15? And can you even choose? Because now he's starting to fall back a little bit, so how do you plan your movement to make up that time and get to where you can make that strike?
Well, right now, I think you just kind of size up the 15. Is he going to start? I think the whole field knows that he's on race old left side tires. So I think he's just trying to get an idea. Is the 15 struggling? Obviously, right now, he's not. He's able to drive away a little bit from the 54. 54 hasn't let him get too far away, but he's still driving away nonetheless. So right now it's just sizing him up, seeing if those left sides are playing a little bit of a detriment. You see Kyle a little bit wide coming out of the corner, so there may be a little bit of grip issue for that 15 as of right now. And if you're in the 54, you don't want to pounce right now. You don't want to use up those tires. You don't want to get them hot. We've seen the 21 be able to come on strong towards the later parts of the run, and he's sitting P3, not letting these two get away. So you can't. Right now, the 54 is in the worst possible position, so to say. You're trying to seize up the 15. You're trying to get an idea of where he's at. You don't want to run him down, but at the same time, you don't want to give up too much time to where the 21 starts to pounce. So as of right now, I feel like the 54 is probably in the worst spot possible.
Time is waning for these drivers. And we're not too far. We're not going to make the vote yet. We're not going to make the nominations yet even, but we're not too far from North American Racing League Driver of the Day considerations. I know I've got one in mind. I'm not really sure exactly who my second will be just yet. We got options, I think that's for sure, but I think there's at least at least 5. So to narrow it down to 4, you know, how do you make that last decision?
Depending on who the driver is, I guess just positions gained if you're impressed with them. There's 2 that come to mind immediately for me as far as who I would choose, just because of how the race has gone and their position currently out on the track. So I guess once we get to that point where they stand, may be able to help you with that decision, but that's kind of what I'm looking forward to choosing. But yeah, as of right now, I guess it would just be where they are at the time of choosing is what I would level it down to.
Well, time is running out. We'll be doing those nominations here very shortly, but I want to do one more lap time comparison before we wrap this thing up. And you know, we've seen this group kind of spread out over this run, and we have some different people in some different places, but let's bring the graphic up and compare the top 3 and then 5th place. And I'm only skipping over Waylon Nelson because Murtis is starting to run him down, and Murtis has 4 tires versus 2. So Turzak has the 2 new tires with 2 old tires on the left side, and he is lapping at a 19.507, then a 508. So right on top of each other those last 2 laps. Elvis just slightly faster at a 499. Klingelhofer a 501. So they are all within a tenth. Within 1/100th of a second that last time. Murtis, the only driver a little bit off of these 4 that we're looking at, and now they spread out a little bit. Turzak faster, Elvis and Klingelhofer slower, and Murtis even further off as he races with Waylon Nelson. Here is the battle for 4th. Murtis from the inside. This could be a deciding factor for the 0-2's race.
Yeah, he needs to get around the 9 as quickly as possible. You see the lap times down there. Turzak, Elvis, Klingelhofer all quicker than Murtis by a 10th. Murtis needs to make this pass and needs to make it now. It looks like he does. A little bit of contact between the 9 and the 0-2. The 9 not happy with the 0-2, shoves him back up the track. This is going to be, like you said, detrimental, very detrimental. Now getting passed up by multiple cars. The 18 gets passed, and the 36 now looking to his inside. Creech back on the lead lap. So this is for position. Contact between the 0-2 and the 36.
Whoa!
Then a big send.
Wow. Mertis absolutely sent him. Zach absolutely sent him. Certainly didn't mean to put him backwards in the wall, but absolutely sent him there in turn 3. And we're going to get a look back all the way to the initial moment between Nelson and Mertis. So let's go back here. 0-2. This is where they really started to get racing. That's off of turn 4. Oh boy, look at that.
And a little bit of a left turn from the 9 gets into the right rear of the 0-2, which gets him out of sorts, and then a bump in the middle of the corner that's going to send the 0-2 up. Let's get a look again from the top down view. You see the two battling pretty hard here. A little bit of a door from the 0-2 saying, hey, I need to get by. 0-9 comes down just a little bit, taps him, maybe didn't like that, gets into the back of him, sends him back up the track, still clean, still green.
So when they go back racing, you see Mertis is not happy. And when they get back down to turn 3 here, I think it's pretty cut and dry. Well, he gets hit there by Creech off of 2, but it's pretty cut and dry right there. I mean, he's absolutely sent Nelson into 3. I'm going to be honest, though. You know, just looking back objectively, they're racing here. This is still racing down in 1 and 2. Mertis cooked it a little bit, but then slow it down. Right here, Nelson 100% hangs a left. I mean, he hung a left to get the right rear of Mertis, and I will state, I think I can say this, that's intent. That is intent initially. He hung a left into the right rear and then hit him again in 3. So, you know, if he was just trying to get behind him, I don't think he would have hit his bumper in 3 to double down. And I'm not going to defend Zach going for his right rear off of 4 and then hitting him in 3, but to get started, if you just get fed a door in wheel-to-wheel racing on a short track, I don't think you need... And then if you take that and try to right rear the guy, I don't think you need to be on a short track, in my opinion.
It's difficult to gauge as the pace truck comes down. We're getting ready to go green flag racing again. 20 laps are going to be left out on the track, out in the race, so to say. Turczak with the big launch.
So some tempers getting flaring throughout the field. 20 laps to go. Oh boy. Vaden and Creech side by side here. Nelson and Fox side by side behind them. 1 lap complete off the restart. Mertis and McPeak at the back of the field. Everybody back on the lead lap. Nobody pitted under that yellow, by the way.
Which I think that's probably the best call, even if you do have tires. That's still a long pit stop. Well, maybe for some of the guys in the back, if you still had tires, maybe that would have been the chance to take some tires, get some fresh on, and have a chance at some more positions. As we look back here now, the 0-2 right back on the bumper of the 9. This is a good and bad thing about having a smaller field just like this. You're right back with whoever you may be flaring with. The 0-2 of Mertis on the back bumper of the 9. 9 gets a little loose. Nelson looks like he's going to come back down in front of Mertis. Mertis trying to play nice right now. I think Nelson's doing the same thing, maybe just a little aggressive. Blocking going into 3 and 4. Mertis looked low. Nothing there yet, but okay, I take it back. Maybe not playing nice. Maybe gloves are starting to come off here.
McPeak now looks to the inside of the 0-2. I believe Nelson and McPeak are teammates. I do believe Zach is going to be outnumbered if it comes down to a numbers game. And we're down to 15 to go this next time by. Let's go ahead and nominate some drivers for driver of the day. And if something happens, we'll get a replay of it. You won't miss anything in that regard. Turczak is walking away now. Elvis second. Klingelhofer third. Who you got, Zach?
One of my picks, I've already picked him for the paint. I got to pick him for the drive. Klingelhofer. He started at the back at the beginning of the race. We didn't really talk about him through the first 50, maybe through the first 60 laps. All of a sudden came out of nowhere and then has held this position the entire time. Now on the back end of the lap leader of the 54 of Elvis. We've seen him drive up through the field on longer runs. Now you see him driving up to one of the faster cars on the shorter run. I've got to give it to Klingelhofer for my first one. Second one, I've got to give it to Creech. With everything that happened with him, with the battling being a lap down, with the damage that he had incurred, now jump back up into the... We might have a caution here, but with him jumping back up into the top 5, I've got to give my second one to Creech.
There's the caution. We will pause on the nominations for a moment. Waylon Nelson has turned around, and I have a suspicion as to how this could have happened. But we will let... First, we'll wait and see how Nelson gets back to the field before taking a replay.
Pulls up. There's a little bit of... Thought there might have been a little bit of damage to the right front of the O2. It looks like
there is.
might be.
There 100% is. It's junk.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, they're playing nice side by side right now. I'm sure, well, we got a little bit of radio here, but it's from all the other drivers as well. The O2 will come down pit road, so,
Oh, my gosh. Get off the track.
Oh, boy.
Get off the track.
Oh, boy.
There's just no place for that. This is a memorial race. We don't want to have the last 15 laps stained by your frustrations and causing an intentional crash. Zach takes a fair shot there. No contact. Right there, Waylon comes down on his bumper. This is just ridiculous.
Running him all the way back down the track and coming into
To the pit wall. I mean, where do you want him to go?
There's really not much for him to do, and then right here is just...
Yeah. I hope the whole field protests that to iRacing, because that has no place in a competitive field whatsoever. That said, I'm going to go ahead and we'll get my 2 nominations out and try to spin the mood back around these final 8 laps or so. Boy, oh boy. You left me a layup, Zach. I gotta say, you made my decision very easy. Very easy. Kyle Turzak and Brandon Elvis have to be the 2 I go for, right? I mean, Turzak's got the 84 laps led, started this race on pole. Going in, I told you, I thought this race would come down to Kyle Turzak and Zach Mertis, and I truly felt that way. Mertis has had some moments. I think if the race had gone right, there's a universe where he could be racing for the win. It didn't quite work out that way, but for Brandon Elvis, he has very much surprised me. The 54 looks very good, I gotta say. So as we get ready for the restart here, watch these 2. Restart coming up. Green flag, we're racing. Oh boy.
A lot of contact right there in the middle part of the field. A lot of good cars taken out too. The 111, the 9 smoking coming down pit road. He looks like he might be done for the night. The 61 was turned around in 1 and 2. Man, that got hectic really, really quick right off the jump. Oh.
A lot happened here on the restart.
It looked like from that short camera shot, the 18 might have missed something, and the 61 got into the back of him.
I think I might start with the 18 of Vaden. Absolutely. I think he might have missed a shift or something. That basically wipes the back end of the field out. You know what? We're going to have a really easy decision on today's Mertis Mega Miss. Watch the bright yellow 0-2 of Zach Mertis in this restart. So the 18 missed the shift, gets tapped by the 61. They all crash. Oh my.
2 near misses for the 0-2. Looks low, looks like he was going to go towards the middle. Not there. Jumps back up top, nearly misses the 18, and the 9 misses his back bumper by mere inches.
Whew. So today's Murtus Esports Mega Miss brought to you by the Murtus Esports 02. This is an overhead drone of everything starting, and then, oh wow.
I'm not for sure so far. I don't know if the 18 might have missed a shift. Maybe he just mistimed it behind the 21, checked up a little bit to not get into the back of him, and just the 61 wasn't prepared for that little bit of a checkup from the 18. So
let's go back to it. Let's listen.
I'm not for sure because he's on the back end. Yeah, let's take a listen.
He absolutely got caught up between gears. You could hear it bang off the chip there between second and third. So he just missed a shift, was trying to get it in gear, couldn't quite find it. That happens. Even in sim racing. Here we go, restart on the way. Some damaged cars in the back. It might be between your top four. We could have a surprise, though. 2 laps to go this time by in the 3rd annual Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race. Let's end this on a high note. Green flag is out. We are racing again at Myrtle Beach. Brandon Elvis, a lap and a half to get by this 15 car.
And that was the best jump the 54s had on these restarts all day. The 15 sneaks away in the middle of 3 and 4. It looked like he was trying to set him up, tried to turn down in the middle of 3 and 4. Didn't work. The 36 now look to the inside of the 21. This is your Whiplash Sim Cams Racing white flag.
Final time through turns 3 and 4, and Kyle Terzak is going to grab himself a bag at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Kyle Terzak wins the 3rd annual Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race here at Myrtle Beach, running the fastest lap of the race. Oh, but he's upset. Upset for the fastest lap by Carson Klingelhofer there at the end. Regardless, what a drive out of these top 2. Either one of them, I think, most deserving in the field. 50-50, honestly, for me, between these two. I'm just glad one of them is able to go to victory lane here this evening.
Very well deserved. Like you said, the top 2 drivers leading pretty much the entirety of the race. I believe Terzak there just under 100 laps, with the 54 being just over 100 laps. So these two obviously put on a show tonight. Very well deserved from the 15. Heartbreak for the 54, like we had mentioned, 100 and I believe 6 laps led is what you said, maybe 102 if I'm not mistaken. Just fantastic racing from these guys.
Regardless, over 100, over half the race led by the 54 car, and I think just about the other half led by this 15 right here. So these two definitely were the top 2 here this evening. Glad to see at least one of them here in victory lane. And let's go back and take a look at your unofficial race results when it's all said and done here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Up top, Kyle Terzak, as mentioned, just about the, I think certainly, at least one of the two, you could go back and forth on if you want to say he was the best or Elvis was the best out there this evening. Either one of them, I think, easily deserved this win. Carson Klingelhofer 3rd. We'll be talking to your entire top 3 in just a few moments. Dalton Creech 4th and Trevor Vaden your top 5. So we at least got those guys back up there after they each had some rough moments earlier in the race. McPeak took 6th and Zach Murtus takes 7th this evening. Final car on the lead lap. Connor Fox a couple of laps down there at the end, and Waylon Nelson out early. Cameron Carden had to park it just a little bit earlier on in the event. Let's take a moment to look back actually on that restart if we can. This is just a little bit before it happened. Let's find the moment if possible. It should be right here, yes. And let me as well make sure we get an invite out to the drivers for these interviews. So there's the restart for Terzak and for Elvis. They each just kind of got away. It was a great jump for Terzak. Elvis did a good job, though. I think, honestly, Zach, if a swipe was going to be taken, it had to be down here in 3 on the first lap.
He thought about it, too. You see him dive into 3 and 4 just a little bit backed up. Maybe he was trying to facilitate a little bit of a run out of 4 to have a chance yet again, but just too far back, maybe too little too late. I mean, these two had ran clean and green the entire race. We saw them battling a lot, and I can respect the decision of the 54 to maybe not go in and use a little bit of the car to get the 15 up the track, even though that is racing, and I think we can all agree that that produces a lot of good racing coming down to the line. I can respect the 54 for maybe backing off on that decision just a little bit, getting into 3 and 4.
And then back here with the 61, the 18, the 02, I want to see what happened with these guys here to the checkers. Let's look at the restart for them. Murtis got in a little bit deep in 1 and 2. That's okay. Trying to beat the 15, or the 18 rather. And then McPeak on his bumper there into 3. Here comes the white flag.
61 quickly backs off of the 02, still side by side 02 and 18 coming into turn 1. Heard Murtis talking about how he couldn't really apply much pressure to his brake. That might have been what happened to him going into 1 and 2 the previous lap.
Just got hit there by the 61 coming to checkers. That, of course, is only for 6th position. I think that it is what it is, short track racing at that point, but definitely a race to forget, at least in the final 50 or so, for Zach Murtis, despite a strong beginning to the day here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Let's take a look back then. I guess we don't have to take much of a look back then. Let's just go ahead and get the top 3 in here. After all, Zach, well, we've got 3 fantastic drivers at the end of this thing that I believe, yeah, they're all on the Driver of the Day vote. Let's bring in Kyle Turzak, of course, tonight's race winner here. After 200 laps at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, Kyle Turzak. I know there was a race a couple of years back that I feel like you should have won here. Does this make up for that at all?
Yeah, it was last year's of this run-ins race. You know, I led the back half of that race and kind of got, used up a little bit and had to come back through the field, and I got second in that. But yeah, this feels pretty good. I honestly wasn't planning on running this tonight. Misfit Touring Series canceled tonight due to some family issues on Kyle Adams' side, and I knew that, I saw this was running. Actually, I didn't know it was running until a couple hours before, because I saw it on the YouTube page, actually, so that was pretty interesting. But yeah, first run was terrible, absolutely atrocious, burning up my stuff. I was trying to hard save, and then we couldn't make it on fuel, so he added a lap 100 caution for fuel and whatnot, and I kind of pushed to get to Brandon to see if I could get the clean air after the restart, but that didn't work out. I definitely burned up my stuff in the first run, and then I realized I had a lot of work to do, and from lap 100 to 150, which I feel like I did pretty well. Got to the lead there in clean air, and I kind of burned up my stuff there, and so I kind of realized what I kind of had to do in the 50 lap segment. So I kind of built a decent sized gap, and I realized that I just have to manage this gap now. So clean air was definitely the race winning move right there.
And I was pretty curious about your decision to go for 2 at the first break we got. Did that affect you later on, having the completely race old left side tires, as opposed to at least having 2 left sides that were only 100 laps old at the end?
I don't know. I'm looking at my left sides right now. It's only 44 left on the left rear, so it's getting down there. I feel like the 30% mark is where it starts to get bad on you. But I feel like 2 tires in this car or in the Super is always the way to go. But obviously, you don't really know that how your left sides are doing unless you go into caution, which I didn't really check. So that was, kind of a bad move on my part. But yeah, I feel like the 4 freshies could be good on a longer run, and that I think I was kind of right on that, because Carson and Brandon were coming towards the end of that, second run to coming to lap 150. So I feel like on the longer runs, 4 tires were definitely better. But I feel like 2 tires for the track position and whatnot was definitely key.
I agree. I think that track position at the moment that you took it definitely played a role in getting you to this victory. Of course, earlier in the broadcast, I touted that you finally got yourself a Sarah Super Series win, and we turn our short track focus back over to that. Of course, we've got a mystery race coming up this coming week. What's the game plan like there for you guys over RKM?
Just to work hard. Last couple days ago, we had a really good run right there, and kind of just fell off a little bit. Got a little tight, hit the wall a little bit, but I feel like we showed great speed in that. The run with Alex and Cabri, that was pretty cool. Racing all side by side, that was really cool. And going into this mystery night, it's just going to be what track we get first off, and second off, how prepped we are. And I feel like here at RCAM, we're one of the most prepped sub shops out there. We basically have bases for everything. Road courses, short tracks, big tracks, you name it. We got the bases for it, and we're ready to go at any time.
I'd love to see a road course make it into a Sarah Super Series race. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's good to know that at least you guys would be prepared for it. I think it'd be pretty cool. But Kyle, congratulations. It's good to talk to you today after this one, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. I just want to thank Cameron for putting this on. You guys for the broadcast, RKM Sub Shop for everything to do on the open side. Core Buddy Wraps for this number 15, Matthew Designs for the real life stuff, Misfit Productions for the real life stuff, Terzak Rates on Facebook, and everybody's watching back at home.
Kyle Terzak with a big win here this evening at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and I'm sure we'll be talking to him very soon over on the Sarah Super Series side. On down to second place, though, Brandon Elvis. This guy, 102 laps led this evening, Zach. He is the big surprise to me.
102 laps led, but came up just one position short. Brandon, you ran one heck of a race, and we saw the battle between you and Kyle Terzak there. We saw him take 2 tires on that lap 100 stop. Everyone else took 4. Was there a bit of a learning moment there after seeing him take the 2 tires, maybe seeing that this might be a play for the 150 stop, or was it more so you just wanted to take the 4 tires, or what was going through your mind at that halfway stop?
Yeah, right there. I didn't, at that point, I didn't think we were having a 150 stop. First off, I thought we were replacing that with the 100 stop, but nonetheless, I knew the left sides were wearing pretty good, and I didn't want the left rear tire to just get soggy on the later stages. So I went in and took 4, and then I knew that right there at the lap 150 mark, I caught Kyle and was passing him as the caution came out for the 150 break. And I don't know, I think 4 tires would have worked if that was the case, but just the cautions and everything allowed him to cool his left sides back down, and I was on 2 tires at that point as well, but just dirty air, not having trap position. Trap position was pretty important tonight, and Kyle had it at the end, and I didn't.
Well, I don't think that diminishes what you did at the earlier part of this race. We saw Kyle really fall back, and you really came to light. There was really nobody else that could really mess with you once they got to the front. I believe we saw the 36 up there for maybe a couple laps, but after that, you just ran away. So I don't think that's anything to hang your head on. I did kind of want to talk to you about the battle you had with the 15. We saw a bunch of hard racing, but clean racing. And then right there towards the end on that final restart, maybe a little bit of a lunge going into 3 and 4, maybe thought different of it. What was the game plan on that final restart?
No, I mean, I've raced with Kyle a good bit here lately, and he's become a pretty good wheel man on here. I give him that. He still has his moments, but he does a pretty good job, and he's on his game right now, and he hasn't done anything to me, so I wasn't going to just send him for no reason. You know what I mean? I don't race like that, and I don't race like that unless I'm raced like that, and he just had me beat, so I wasn't going to try to take it from him that way.
That's one of the things that we were talking about up here, just the amount of racing that you guys had, but clean racing. Sure, hard, but clean still. I think that goes a lot longer than just dooring somebody up and out of the way. I think that goes a lot further. I mean, like we were touting about earlier, Andrew was talking, he said it, I'm going to kind of throw Andrew under the bus here. We were talking earlier about the drivers to expect, and we had mentioned Terzak and Murtis, and he had mentioned that you were kind of a surprise to him. Is this something that you do, like, as far as the super lates, is this something like regularly? Do you usually jump around cars, or is this like the main thing that you usually jump into when you get on iRacing?
Yeah. I usually just league race mostly, but mainly late model stocks, and we run supers as well. running that open super league right now that Kyle's been kicking our tail in, to be quite honest. But we're getting better, and I don't know, just I mainly just focus on the late models in general.
Oh, I mean, it showed through there. It really did. It's very impressive racing, regardless of who was challenging you and who you were challenging. There was really no contact or any kind of mishap from you. There's no misstep. So, again, one position short, but still, congratulations on the P2, man. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you here soon.
Yeah, thanks, man. And it does help that this was my home track. I'm from Myrtle Beach and grew up racing here, so I know how to get around here, but just wasn't enough tonight.
Well, like you said, the huge help they're having raced here. I believe that did help you, but hey, still nothing to hang your head about. A lap or a race high of 102 laps led, and still brought the fight to Kyle. It didn't just lay over and let him have it. So it's still nothing to hang your head about. That was one heck of a race.
Yep. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, sir.
That's Brendan Elvis with a P2 run, and I think he kind of mentioned it there in his interview. I think certainly go back to the lap 150 caution. Had that been a completion of 150 versus a beginning of lap 150 caution, I definitely have to imagine he might have had the track position over Kyle Turzak, and that easily could have put him in the right spot to lead off the restart when we got back green afterwards, and potentially lead until the end and win this race. It's a bunch of what ifs, though. You know, if he had gotten the lead sooner, it could have been that way too. So it's a lot of what ifs there, and he still did a fantastic job. As you say, nothing to be sad about, more or less there. But let's go back to third place, Carson Klingelhofer, who put together a really fantastic effort after kind of falling back a little bit early there. You started fifth. What was your race like behind the wheel?
Oh, it was extremely difficult and long. Mainly the point of it was just to save tires, because I didn't know how the cautions would play out. I figured we would have had a little bit more to where we didn't need to pit as much, so I could save under a caution and along the way with just the long run. I mean, that was the plan the whole go around, and then we hardly had any until the end. I don't know really what happened till the end because I was ahead of it, but it was pretty difficult to predict on what other drivers were trying to do at the point. I feel like during that first 100 lap stint, I saved perfectly and got up to second. I did accidentally move Kyle out of the way. I gave him, I think, 2 shots in the corner trying to keep my momentum up because I figured he burnt his tires up, and I know how to tire save here, and I use that to my benefit and let everyone else pass me and burn their stuff up or hit the wall and damage the right front. And I just tried to take off with it. And then we had a caution at 150, like a mandatory caution. You had to go through the pits no matter what. But just take tires each time. I took rights and lefts during the lap 150 caution, and then rights to improve my stagger at the 150, and I took rights and lefts at 100. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
All good. I know 200 laps here will boggle anybody's mind. You know, I go back to the laps leading up to that first caution, I guess second caution, but first break we had. It did seem like you were the fastest car on track. I wish we had pulled up the lap time comparison at that time to verify that fact. But, you know, if we didn't have the second break at 150, if it was just 100 laps and 100 laps, do you think you could have put yourself back in position to be racing for the top couple of spots a little more closely at the end?
I figured that I would have been able to, but I heard caution at 150 in the beginning of the race during practice. That was going to happen regardless, but then come to find out that the setup that iRacing gives you does not give you enough laps to make it to 150. So we decided during the race, through a vote, through the session, that it should be thrown at 100. So I took rights and lefts, so that would have thrown my stagger off, preventing me from doing a great long run like I did the first time. But we cleaned that up and got a caution at 150 due to it being mandatory. It was pretty much just a prediction that just went good enough, right?
Well, we nominated you for Best in Show earlier in the broadcast. Your currently second in the driver of the day vote. I think you still had a very strong day here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. And Carson, it's good to talk to you after the fact, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Oh, hopefully. Yeah, that'd be great.
Carson Klingelhofer, third place tonight in the third annual Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race, and a good looking 21 at that. And, you know, Zach, looking back at the results, I don't think there's too many outright surprises. I just don't know the name Brennan Elvis yet, so I'm still a little bit surprised there. But otherwise, I don't think there's anything majorly surprising. You know, I think I would have expected Zach Murdos higher up, but we obviously saw what led to him being further down the order. And really, I think that's about it. I think Turzak and Elvis, they were the fastest two in the field. They got to race it out. I definitely think in that way, we got what we came for.
Yeah, no, I agree. Maybe it's just not the drivers that we had picked, but I mean, it still came down to the line. We really didn't know, even coming to the white flag, we really didn't know who was going to be crossing the checkered line first. So I do feel like we still got what we asked for. A really good race, the long strategy, the short punches thrown. I really think that we got what we had hoped for out of short track racing.
Well, we've had a tie so far in the driver of the day vote, so we're going to do a runoff vote while we do some more post-race conversations here. So let me prepare the runoff vote between our top two drivers in that vote. In the meantime, Zach, final thoughts here from this 200-lapper?
Well, with like we had said earlier, with only a handful of drivers, there's only so much to expect. But I think this race just absolutely blew out any expectation. We saw long green flag runs. We saw short little runs. We saw strategy play out. Hard racing. With the mix of other things in there. But I still feel like this was a very, very fun race to watch, be a part of. I'm thankful that you called me up and I was able to be here, and I just believe that this race exceeded any kind of expectation as to what you might have expected out of a 10-car field. These guys raced hard. They didn't really put their car in harm's way unintentionally. So I think it was a really, really fun race to watch, and I was very, very taken aback by how well these guys were the show that they were putting on was very, very fun to watch.
That runoff vote will only go for a couple of minutes here, so make sure you vote quickly for the North American Racing League driver of the day. We are now down to two options, those being Kyle Turzak and the 21, if I can get these graphics sorted out, the 21 of Carson Klingelhofer. So those two are up for the runoff vote. Get your vote in quickly. In the meantime, Zach, here's what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. We've talked about it already, but one more look over the graphic. Next up, Tuesday evening, the BRB Sundance Pro Series, Kentucky Speedway. That race will be brought to you by CC's Business, and I'm excited for it. I think Kentucky is a very arcade track. We're going to see the whole racetrack get used, I think, or at least 4 or 5 lanes, if you will. 80% of the racetrack be used in the corners. It's going to be an exciting one, and then Thursday, our double feature that we're starting to get used to with the North American Racing League earlier, and then the Sarah Super Series a little bit later in the evening. It's going to be a lot of racing to digest all at once, but we have the Red Bull Ring with the GT3M drivers, and then a mystery track for the Super Series drivers, including Kyle Turzak, that won tonight's Myrtle Beach race here this evening for the Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race. Say that 5 times fast. The Carroll Carden. I think that rolls off the tongue a little better, but let's see, that vote is still going. We'll give you a little bit longer here, Zach. Of the next little while here on the channel, what are you looking forward to the most? Not just what you'll be here for, because I know you're back on the channel scheduled right now, the 29th of January, for the NARL Pro Drivers at Spa, but throw in ARC at Kentucky. They've also got Darlington and Atlanta coming up for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. We've got a handful of races coming up for the Sarah Super Series, and we have a mystery race this week, and I believe Anyways, with all of that going on, what are you looking forward to?
I mean, I'm a huge sucker for ovals. I think you know this. The road racing stuff in the North American Racing League has just been sublime to watch, so to say. It has been such a pleasure to be a part of last season and the start of this season for those guys. Like you had mentioned, I'm not slated for the Thursday broadcast as for the January 15th, but I do love my ovals, and with the new car at Kentucky, I really wish they didn't take, with the new ARCA car at Kentucky, I really wish they didn't take Kentucky off the schedule. I feel like if the correct car is on the track, it really can produce some good racing. So as far as that goes, I would probably have to push towards the Tuesday BRB Sundance Pro Series ARCA car at Kentucky. I really feel like with how difficult those cars are to drive, a little bit on the front end side, and with how flat the turns 3 and 4 are at Kentucky, I feel like that could really produce a lot of great racing. So that would kind of be where I'd be aiming towards, would just be the Kentucky Speedway race for BRB Sundance.
While we talk a little more, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set myself an alarm. 9:45. That's just over a minute away. We are going, when that alarm goes off, I'll turn my ringer on my phone. When that goes off, it's the audible sign for everybody all at once that the vote is over for driver of the day. So we'll do that here in the background as we give a big thank you to our partners with the third annual Carroll Carden Memorial Race here this evening. There are plenty of them out there. Of course, KC Athletics and KC Designs, kind of spearheaded by Cameron Carden, but also DC Design. I believe that was actually Dalton Creech. Nelson Designs, Nelson Roofing, ML Residential Painting Services, His Own Love Apparel, which I believe is also spearheaded by Cameron Carden, and then the Pulaski Swamp Donkeys, which I know Cameron has involvement in as well. So a lot of great groups and partners with this event and the Sim Auto Racing Tour, which is typically covered, by the way, by Stam Studio Network. Unfortunately, Stam could not be here tonight. I do want to thank him for his willingness to do so, and then some plans changed, and we certainly appreciate that he was willing to join us, and then, unfortunately, life is life, I suppose, and things went a little bit differently. A big thank you as well to our partners. Here we go. I will click over and end the vote and recap the result in a moment. Let's turn that off. That's loud. But Whiplash SimCams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League helping us out here on every broadcast through 2026. And Zach, I can tell you, we do have a definitive winner finally. They tied up for a moment once again, but we have a definitive winner for this vote, and it is going to be Carson Klingelhofer. Go back to his stats. Started 5th. He moved up to 2nd at one point, finished 3rd. I think he punched above his weight class a little bit, and I think that's kind of the deciding factor here.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea for the pick that I had of him. Like we were talking about, we didn't really mention him at the start of the race. He kind of, as you see there, low of 6th. I believe that's during the start of the race, but as soon as he got into those top 3 positions, he really didn't give it up. There was really no other contest. Sure, he had to battle here and there to maybe keep it, but obviously he won every single one of those battles, and even brought some of the battle to the 54 there for a little bit before we got those final string of cautions. He was right on the back bumper of them. He was one of the faster cars on the longer run, so I feel like it's well deserved. I feel like it's easy to pick somebody that may have been the absolute best driver, but to see somebody that may have struggled at the beginning, get their legs under them, and then use that to their advantage to drive up through the field and take the fight to them, I feel like that's also could be easily a deserving driver of the day.
With that all sorted out and the vote finally decided, we can take a step back now this evening and bid you all farewell. Thanks so much for joining us this evening here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. It has been a pleasure as always. A big thank you to Cameron Carden and company. And you know, we didn't actually talk to him one more time, so I'm going to bring him in briefly. And Cameron, we said we might talk to you there in the back end, and then it all just got crazy. But I want to ask you, looking back now on these 3 years, how satisfied are you with these 3 races we've had here on Pit Stop TV? Richmond and the Myrtle Beach twice. How does it feel to look back and have these 3 races in the books?
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly, to have drama. You know, obviously last year when we did this, it was a crazy ending, but that's what you get for a memorial race. You know, when you my first idea when we had this was whenever I first went to the Thanksgiving Classic that they have down there at Southern National. Me and my father went, both went for the 3 days that they had racing, and being able to experience that and have the idea that I want to do that and to do it for someone special. And then honestly, I've lost all my grandparents in my lifetime, just at 20 years old. Just turned 20 actually, January 2nd. So you know, at 20 years old, when you don't have any grandparents to go to, you know, you don't have mama and papa's house to go to travel to. And so even to not know a guy that held you in your hands, on his hands at a young age, very young age, it means something special whenever you get to put on a special event, have sponsors, have people show up to race, and be able to have. I would say today was very successful, very drama filled near the end, but still, I would say that the racing today that we saw it was amazing. I would say even just for 10 cars, I don't care what anybody says. I think out of the three, this was still crazy near the end, but out of the 3 years, these have been good. And you know, we may do it again next year. You know, if we get some stuff worked out behind the scenes. But for right now, I'm very pleased on how today went. And again, just gotta give God all the glory for everything He's done, everything that He's done in my life, and for my parents and everything, and for you guys to come on here and for do this for 3 years. And I just appreciate it, and just thank y'all so much for what y'all do, and just gotta give Him the glory.
Hey, we appreciate your time and appreciate being here this evening. I certainly hope there's more to be written here in these history books, and if this is it, boy, it's been a fun 3 years of doing this event, and hopefully we can do more. That's really all I can add there is just I hope there's a whole lot more on the way. Cameron, thanks so much for your time. Happy belated birthday, by the way. I don't think I even realized your birthday was 8 days ago, but happy belated. And man, hopefully we see you on some more Tuesdays here on Pit Stop TV and some more events to come as 2026 rolls on. And just once again, thank you.
Yes, sir. Hey, we might throw it to Richmond next year. We might go back. We don't know.
Hey, Richmond's always a fun track, but that'll do it for us this evening here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you all next time on Pit Stop TV, hopefully for the BRB Sundance Pro Series at Kentucky this week. We'll see you then. Green flag back in the air. Brendan Maddox, Adam Buzzio, the whole field chomping at the bit. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. The Lucky Performance Overtime rules reminding you that if we get back around to the white flag, this race is official. Buzzio with a push from Dyer. Maddox with a push from Hughes. Zach, I think we're going to get there.
I think we will. Coming back around, Buzzio leads the group. Through the tri-oval we go. No caution. Sam Dyer looks to the outside. 3 wide for the race lead. White flag is in the air, presented by Whiplash Simcams. Sam Dyer is all by himself on the top line, Andrew. There is nothing that he can do. He's going to start dropping back, and Brendan Maddox is out in front by himself. I do not want to have a gap that big.
We'll see how this one works out. Maddox moves up, now moves down. That checks up the bottom side. Here comes Buzzio. Here comes Camper. Here comes Plord, all on the top side of the racetrack. Maddox now going to try and fight back on the bottom with a push from Buzzio's teammate. That's Hughes down low, and Hughes isn't pushing the 8. Now he gets there from a push from Mason Houseman to the stripe. It's going to be a drag race. Adam Buzzio. Dakota Camper. He's going to look down to the inside, and Camper is going to shove alongside of the 5. Dakota Camper, maybe. No, Buzzio's got to win this season.
Oh my goodness, what a finish.